Hello, everybody. It's Coach Hart here. Sorry for the delay. Just making sure I was live. If you can drop me a chat or drop me a comment in there, say if you're joining me. See, there's a few people on saying you can hear me. Everything clear. Everything's going good. I appreciate that. If you can drop it down in the comments, either on the Facebook group or here on YouTube. If anybody could do that, it will help me to make sure that I'm broadcasting. You guys can hear me. You can see me. And everything is good. So, all right, we're going to get started here. Today, I'm going to discuss a little bit of dribble drive here with you about positive passes versus negative passes. And the reason why I decided to do this is a little impromptu today. I didn't send out any emails, didn't send out any notifications, just kind of decided here about an hour ago that I was going to do this. And the reasoning is I get emails from time to time. I'm a high school basketball coach, owner of System Basketball, and I've been running the Dribble Drive Motion Offense since 2008. Have a course, have some other things I produce, videos here on YouTube, have the Dribble Drive Motion Hoop Talk group that a lot of coaches are members of. And I get questions. So one of them was a coach asked, he didn't quite understand in his journey yet about positive versus negative passes and why they're important. I think they're huge for you. And we're going to hit on four main reasons why I think they are too. And the number one reason I think is it prevents switching. Did a poll the other day in a group and asked, what defense do you see most often? And the highest percentage was switching. And why does a positive pass versus a negative pass prevent switching? So let's just review real quick what a positive pass is as opposed to a negative pass. On a standard dribble drive, dribble here to the drop zone area, if a player is starting to come up and they're below the line of the passer, that is negative. So if we put defensive players out here and X1 was there, X1 was here, X2 was there, you can see when they turn the corner here, how it'd be easier for X1 to switch this. Because they're probably going to dribble right at one. One would fill this corner, and two would probably be coming at this angle at them. So that's an easy switch. Okay. Besides preventing switching, which I didn't put on here, and this is probably a number one for me, it prevents turnovers. How many times have you been running this offense and your player picks up the basketball and they make their movements out of the corner and then they cut back door and the ball goes past? I'm going to say that's a pass. That's a dribble. My software here, or the Lucio software, will not dictate a pass out of bounds. That's a good thing. But so if you threw it, it would go out of bounds. So to prevent it, we throw positive passes to prevent switching and turnovers. So a positive pass, simplest terms for you would be for a player coming out of the corner in a kick-up situation is you do not throw the ball until the player is even with you or slightly above you. I like slightly above, and we'll get into that more later. So this pass right there, and then them going there, and then so we go, oops, sorry, it's not registering the pass. There we go. We fill. So now we're like this. So if we had X1 on the court here and X2 here, and they switch this, when one filled, put one in that corner, and now they're driving, it's a bad angle for them to switch. They're above it, so now they have an advantage, which we're going to get into even a little bit more as well. So all this kind of goes hand in hand. Why a positive kickback is better than a negative kickback. We're not talking about this situation. Okay, we're not talking about what some people would refer to as a kick down. A kick down is totally something different. We're talking about when a player kicks up, positive kick-ups and negative. A kick down, sometimes you throw, and that is a negative pass. There are times in the offense that you do throw it, but in general, you want to throw positive kick-ups, and as opposed to negatives. So a kick-up, again, for the people that are new to us, is the player coming up to the ball when the ball handler picks up the ball in the drop zone area. Pretty much they're going to come up here mainly if the offensive player picks the ball up around the free throw line or pushed out wide. That is positive kick-ups. Now the other one that you need to employ, again, would be kickbacks, positive versus negative. So when we drive middle and we're hitting about the midline, this player would start to come. So again, if you threw the pass to the player here, if you threw it to him like that, that is negative. And again, X1 would have an easy job of being able to switch it as they're driving into that double, triple gap. If you do it as a positive and you wait till they're either here or other side, which I prefer, this action's harder to switch. Because when you would do this, X1 and X5 would probably be somewhere in here in the nail giving help. So they're both together and they would have to determine who's going to come out and guard. And that also gives you the opportunity to shoot the basketball or drive it off of that much easier and get into the downhill attack. So now we're going to discuss playing uphill as opposed to playing downhill and how the positive kick-up comes into play. On a positive kick-up, so I teach you should be off the line and you come up, and now you should start rounding in. So now your shoulders are starting to come, and then on this kickback, your shoulders are now facing towards the backboard and the rim, and now you can get downhill for that drive. So you probably heard people discuss downhill, attacking downhill. When you throw negative kick-ups, so in this area, so we'll just say that if you threw it here, that's negative. Your offensive player has to kind of go up and then down up the hill before they can attack the downhill. So again, you could see how that would be a switch easier. Okay, so we're talking uphill versus downhill concept here. This is mainly out of the corners, if you will. It still kind of applies on a kickback situation, which is your middle penetration between your slot when players are in the slot areas. So if you threw it here, they're not really playing downhill. They're stationary, and I wouldn't really call it uphill here, but they're stationary and they're not using their momentum of being like a running back. That's how I would kind of explain it. Is this player is going to come across. This player is going to come across now downhill, and now when you throw this pass, you can see how they can get into a jump shot, a split catch, and get a downhill rack. So that positive helps, and that also, you can see the spacing prevents the switch. So huge when you're teaching the offense and you're breaking it down. This is huge. I would yell turnover, put the ball down, or whatever consequences to eliminate this stuff and to really teach it in. Now, one of the other things is people ask, I have the dreaded weave. My dribble drive motion offense looks like a weave. All they're doing is switching all the actions. Well, if you threw the negative pass and we filled and we drove and we passed it to here, you see how this just starts becoming a weaving action. You don't want a weaving action. You want a downhill attack action. So when I get asked the question, is it a continuity? If it looks like that, it looks like a continuity, but your dribble drive is not going to be efficient. You're just throwing passes and you're not getting that downhill attack that you need to get into the paint and force defenders to make a decision of help or stay. Okay, so the last thing I want to really talk about is bringing it all in, and I've already hit on it, is by using this, you create a small advantage for your player that can turn into a big advantage. Okay, so the keys to my thing out of kickups and kickbacks is positive passes. When I get asked, what are we doing wrong? I look at that. Are you on even or on this side? So for things in practice, things to do, the small advantage needs to become a big advantage for you. So one thing I would do is I would start doing this, would put my point guard line, have a line with guards here with the ball. I would put my other slot over here. And I would literally put let's see if we can find it. I would put a cone right here. I would probably put another cone right there and have a player dribble to the nail and then have this player cut. So now when when they're on the other side of the cone, it's reference point and you're playing. You can do it out of the corners, the same thing. I'd put a cone. I'd put the cone right here and then have the player come straight up and then start curving down and throw that pass. Doing it 2-on-0 drills, 3-on, put cones in the kick-up spots and rehearse it. It will improve your offense. I hope you guys enjoy that. If you got questions, let's see. From penetration from the corner to the, what happens? Okay. What happens from a penetration from the corner to the middle? Okay. So let's kind of look at that. All right. Okay. So we're going to place our players. And we're just going to, all right. Okay, so if the player drives like this, how would you know if it's positive or negative? Well, it needs to be, draw that line again. It would just be like that. So it needs to be on the other side of you when you pick up the ball. The player dragging behind needs to be on the other side of you. You don't want them on this side because a help defender can kind of slide in there and steal the basketball. Appreciate that. This is good stuff. Little things make a huge difference. It does. I'm very passionate about the dribble drive. You guys probably know this. It is more than roll it out and let your kids play. You need to coach up the details. You get what you emphasize. If you want to learn more from me, go to systembasketball.com. check out the YouTube channel as well. There's lots of resources. I do have a course that you can check out that covers it from A to Z. If you're interested in more of that, the link on the YouTube is there. If you're inside the Facebook group, hit me on DM. And if you're not inside the Facebook group, join the Dribble Drive Motion Hoop Talk group. It's a great community. Close to 4,000 coaches have had this community here for a couple years. Remember when it was like 300? Great community of coaches sharing ideas. It's all Dribble Drive. That's basically all that's talked about there. I want to say 95% of the content inside that Facebook group is Dribble Drive content. So hopefully you learn that, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not already, so you can find out when I'll be doing more of these little trainings. I'm planning on doing more of these in the future. Leave me some comments on Facebook, here on YouTube. Let me know what you want to learn more about with the Dribble Drive, and I'll do my best to do some more of these little tutorial trainings for you. You guys have a great rest of your week. Have a great basketball week. And also, thank you guys for what you're doing. It's National Coaches Day. Remember, guys, we have a huge impact on the youth today, and everybody, they need coaches. They need people today helping them and guiding them. So what you do is important, and keep grinding and keep doing it. I know it can be tough out there with certain of the other aspects that we deal with as coaches, but remember, you play an important role in these kids' lives. So keep coaching, keep teaching, and thank you guys for supporting me, and keep on coaching and keep looking after those kids. They need you guys. So thanks again. And